Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, last month, a horn player sounded an 18,000-year-old conch shell discovered at Marsoulas Cave in France. In doing so, he confirmed that the shell was not only decorative, but the oldest wind instrument of its kind. In January this year, on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi, the world's oldest cave painting was revealed, dating back 45,000 years. As these discoveries remind us, culture is vital to human life, a deep-rooted anthropological need with its origins in the distant past. Throughout the ages, culture has helped humans surpass themselves by opening up new horizons and imagining new futures, especially when the present was unbearable. Because culture is freedom over and above the trials and tribulations of the time or of the place. Today, we need culture more than ever, and at the same time, however, culture needs us more than ever, because the entire sector is suffering. Following the closure of concert halls, theaters, bookstores, cinemas, the royalties collected by creators could have dropped by 35% in 2020, a 3.5 billion euro loss globally. And indeed, culture is probably one of the sectors most affected by COVID-19, maybe the most after the airline industry. And behind these figures, there are millions of disrupted lives, with many professionals left to fend for themselves. The cultural recovery is therefore an anthropological necessity, but it is also an economic necessity. For the creative economy generates trillions of dollars every year, and its impact and influence are often underestimated. It is also a necessity for peace, because culture brings people together closer by building bridges and by creating meaning. For all these reasons, the United Nations General Assembly proclaimed 2021 the International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development. This is also the ambition of the Culture Summit Abu Dhabi, to jointly reflect on means of action. To act in response to the crisis, we first need to understand it, to measure it. This is an essential first step, because in many respects, the scope of the crisis makes it difficult to quantify. And that's why we decided to launch, with the Abu Dhabi Department of Culture and Tourism, a global study on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the cultural economy. And I am delighted to be joining His Excellency Mohammad Khalifa Al-Mubarak, the department's chairman, to officially announce this study today. To understand, we need figures, but we do not only need figures, we also need the experiences and insights of the professionals. And that is why this summit, like the International Year, will involve creators and professionals so that they can be heard and understood. This was also UNESCO's goal when we launched almost a year ago, at the peak of the pandemic, the Resilient Art Debates. Through 240 debates in over 110 countries, we have gathered artists and professionals from all continents to reflect on the crisis, but also to prepare for the cultural sector's reconstruction. From these debates, we have drawn tangible recommendations collected in the guide Culture in Crisis, which I invite you to read and to share. They highlight three main issues. First, the digital economy, its incredible expansion as a first challenge. This digital technology generates many opportunities, both in creation and distribution, but it also needs to better protect and promote cultural diversity. In the absence of appropriate regulations, digital technology could lead to more risks than opportunities for creativity and for cultural diversity. The second challenge, linked to the first, is a socio-economic one. It involves ensuring that creators can live decently from their activity. It is therefore not urgent only to think about their remuneration, but also value chains, to defend creators better, and to give them a more protective professional status. The third challenge is that of peace, which culture helps build. Culture is the universal language of musicians, of artists, of creators of all kinds, a language which everyone understands. And it is perhaps this unifying power that resonates so strongly in the Near and Middle East, and which UNESCO has put into application in the recent past. In Beirut or in Mosul, we are focusing on the rehabilitation of heritage and reviving cultural life to lay the foundations of peace. In Nineveh Plain, for instance, UNESCO is coordinating the rehabilitation of Al-Muri Mosque, the leaning Al-Habda minaret, and the churches of Al-Tahira and Al-Saha, which symbolize the cultural diversity of this world city. All these efforts have been carried out with the unfailing support of the United Arab Emirates in particular, whom I thank. Ladies and gentlemen, supporting culture and creativity in all its diversity, this is UNESCO's historic engagement. It is also the ambition of our cultural conventions and recommendations, which must be able to guide our member states. With this international year and this summit, one of its first flagship events, we invite you to join these efforts so that together we can harness the power of culture. For there will be no sustainable recovery, no desirable future without these seashells, these paintings, these creations of the mind that are as precious as they are fragile and that we all call culture. I thank you for your attention.